Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. I read an article this morning that really got me thinking, and I wanted to do a little quick video on it about the five things that you need to do if you're in this situation. Uh, According to the SBA, as boomers are retiring, there are 1 million US businesses annually that will change hands for the indefinite future. 1 million businesses that will change hands in the short term, and that will continue on for at least 5 more years. We're talking about core fundamental small business, maybe $1 million in revenue, a couple $1 million in revenue, core businesses that have customers and established business models and revenue and profit. Very good businesses to purchase, particularly if you're an entrepreneur. You can use that as a foundation to actually build up your firm. Maybe you buy a small tech company that has customers. You continue to service those customers and use that cash flow to build and build and build. So if you're one of those business owners that's probably over 55, maybe 60 years old right now, that's planning on selling in the next few years, you're walking into a buyer's market. This is not a market where the seller has the advantage, because there's so many businesses for sale and so few buyers. So few entrepreneurs have even thought about this idea of acquisition as a way of acquiring a business and becoming an entrepreneur. So because of that, there's not a lot of buyers out there, and there's going to be a lot of sellers. So what can you do to stand out, separate yourself from the pack? If you're watching this and you're one of those business owners, I'm going to tell you the 5 things. If you're not one of those business owners, but you know one, share this with them, because they need to know this. This is how they're going to maximize the value in part of the sale. And this is how they don't get stuck in this circle where they can never retire. So the first thing you've got to do is you have to map out the processes. You literally need to get with your employees and say, what are the steps? What are you doing? Diagram all of this out, put it all up on a wall, understand it, talk it all through. You've got to have a map. The best way to sell a business to somebody is to walk in and they see the operations, and then you say, oh, and by the way, here's the map. Here's how it all works. All the interconnectivities. You can see how this department works. Here's where our subcontractors step in. It's a very, very good way to give assurance to a buyer that they know exactly what they're getting, because they can see it. It's visual. It's up on a wall. Next thing you have to do, extract the pain from the process. You've got to sit down with the employees. You've got to ask them, where do we feel pain here? What is broken? What doesn't work? What have you been seeing for years that's been a problem that we can try to fix? Get that out of them. Then optimize value. So you want to optimize the value of the organization by eliminating those bottlenecks, speeding things up. That's really important. And it's also good if you're talking to a potential seller to be able to say to them, hey, we go through this process. Just recently went through it. We've extracted a bunch of the pain points and bottlenecks from employees. We've been making improvements on that. That brings me to the next piece, automate. Probably you have a lot of things in Excel. Excel is an incredible tool. There's lots of other great tools out there, but even if it's just Excel, automate it. Day in and day out, we do this for companies. We've got a team here that can automate Excel spreadsheets. You put the information into one Excel spreadsheet. It populates into 5 or 6 other spreadsheets. It calculates formulas. It does VLOOKUP. It does all those kind of things. Macros will, even if you're not ready to systematize and go buy software, macros will make your business feel and seem much more efficient, because it will be. We've got case studies. You've probably heard us talk about some of them taking things like payroll down from 32 hours a week to 45 seconds by using a macro. Use the tools that are out there, automate with those things. And then finally, once you've eradicated the garbage from the system, the pain is out of the system, things are flowing more smoothly. Now, what do? Standard operating procedures. You got to document that stuff so that you can train on it. I have been involved in multiple business transactions where we're purchasing the assets of a company or purchasing an operating business. And I've got to tell you that the most painful part is trying to figure out what it is that we're buying, because it's not well. And then getting on the other side and then really digging into that stuff and realizing that what we're buying was different than what we even thought. Because I'm experienced in this area, I'm much more skeptical when we go in to buy things. I like to poke around a little bit. I want to see all the documented SOPs. I ask them to print a process map of everything that they do. I want to see it on a wall someplace. I want to be able to ask people about it and say, is this right? These are the tools that you need if you're going to be selling a business. If you're one of those boomers that are out there that has a small business, maybe it's insurance, maybe it's a doctor's office, a laundromat, a car wash, whatever it is. If you're going to be selling that, you need to create a package. This is like a startup going out and pitching with a pitch deck. You need to be able to do the exact same thing to the buyer. You need to be able to sit down with them and say, here's what the business is. Here's what it does. Here's the financials. Here's the process as it is all laid out. Here's the identified bottlenecks in that process. Here's how we've been systematically removing those from this. Here's the things that we've been automating as of recently. This gives you an opportunity to build software or do whatever you do. And then finally, here is a book or an online tool or whatever it is of all of our SOPs, so that tomorrow morning, if you buy this business and you walk in, every single thing that we do has been documented and you're off to the races. This is what you have to do. If you're one of those boomers, it's going to be selling your business in the next few years, that much of your retirement is tied up in that business, the value of that business. Prepare that business for sale. It is not going to sell just the way it sits. It's not going to sell based upon the financials. You need to have all of these things well documented before you go put this on the market and you start talking to buyers. If you're one of those buyers, these are the kind of businesses you want. Ask these questions. I need to see a map of everything that happens. I want a list of your issues and what's your issue processing methodology that you're going through with this. Where are the SOPs located? What level of automation do your tools have right now? This is how you're going to sell a business in the next few years. If you need help, call us. But just get started someplace and you'll be way farther ahead than just about everybody else. Okay, until next time, this is Derek Maines, the Process Fixer.